Welcome along, ladies and gents. Here we go then. It's time for round 10 of the Invictus Racing League Formula 2 series. And with 3/4 of a season under our belt, it's time for a trip to Asia, where we're making a stop in Shanghai for the Chinese Grand Prix. A race where culture is never too far to be seen. China, the country where red dresses are a common appearance in wedding ceremonies, bringing luck to the bride on their big day. Let's see if the red outfits on the likes of Ferrari will bring any luck in the title fight. A title fight which is far from decided. Well, which is decided, Hong Kong, and having the greatest number of skyscrapers of any city in the world. Well, let's see who'll be standing tall tonight then over the next 28 laps around this, the Titan Twisty 5.5 km long Shanghai International Circuit. With 16 corners and 2 super long DRS zones, battles abound too far from sparse this evening. And joining me, as always, it's none other than the multi-talented Keiran. How are you this evening?
Yes, good evening everyone. I'm not too bad, and thank you, Fozzy. I'm glad someone finally recognises my talents. And yes, we're here in China, a track known to test machinery and man. 2007 certainly tested Lewis Hamilton, who made a crucial mistake entering the pit lane, which cost him his first championship title. And talking championships, well, F2, as usual, is providing a brilliant fight throughout. In the Drivers' Championships, it's close. Danza, who has won the last couple rounds, dethrones Adam, who has had a lack of form over recent weekends. However, that gap is close, everybody. 4 points between the Czech and the Hungarian. And Jos Heinze, with his run of 3 podiums in a row, sees the Dutch driver move to P3 in the standings, just 7 points from the crown. And just 2 more rounds left of this heated season. Spain and Singapore. Scoring points, big points, is ever so important for the drivers and teams. And the lead is closing in at the top. AlphaTauri, though, still leading the way by 39 points. But Haas are closing in, although they will need a miracle or two if they want to win this battle. Further back, though, we have Red Bull and Ferrari battling out over P4. But we've seen that the weather has played havoc over the last couple rounds, and it looks like it's doing the same thing this evening, Fozzy. It's wet.
It does, yeah. It is wet. It wouldn't be a PC F2 race without a bit of rain, but all the drivers making their way out on the intermediate tyres. So obviously, with rain comes the risk of spins and errors throughout your laps, so a lot of drivers are wanting to get out early, as early as they can, to try and get a good lap time on the timing grid, in case any future laps go a little bit in the wrong direction. Now, before we progress any further, I just want to bring some attention. A driver change for today. TS Bunty is not able to join us this evening. His replacement is Marmite, making his debut in the F2 series, driving in the Ferrari. Still in the pits at the moment, so it'll be interesting to see how he does over the course of the next few laps. And if he gets a good time on the grid, I'm sure he will. A good driver, as are all the drivers on the grid here. But yeah, just following some of the drivers around, everyone's taking it cautiously. And it looks like our first flying lap is going to Sly Tycoon, who is out there early on those intermediate tyres, like I say. Putting in a nice cautious lap just to get a time on the board. Don't want to be binning it just too soon. But yeah, Geek, Cameron, how are you? What are you thinking of over the next few laps? Who have you got your eyes on as we see? Looks like a Mercedes off already.
Yes, I was going to say...
Mercedes down at the final corner. And it
yes,
is, I believe,
Dave. Oh, Dave. I was going to say I had my eyes on the Mercedes chaps, especially Danza. He's had a brilliant run over the last couple rounds, and it's really, down to him bringing the fight now. It potentially is his championship to lose. We've seen running wide, doing a Lewis Hamilton there, actually, Dave, as he goes into the pits. And, yeah, so my bet is on Danza to really bring this out this weekend and see what he's got. Adam is back, though, in the driving seat of the AlphaTauri, and we know he's good at championship form and winning races and getting good points. So, yeah, the clash of the Titans this evening, Fozzy.
Yeah, 2 spins already. We saw O'Dave. It looks like Zero's had a bit of an issue just coming out of turn 5, I believe. Span around, had a bit of issue getting back on the track. It's just because there's so much traffic. He's having to get out of the way now for... I don't actually... Okay, he's taken a slightly diverted track route, is Zero, getting out of the way of the McLarens. But yeah, there's so many cars on the track, you really had to wait for the traffic to pass. Everybody trying to get times on the board, and the first time on the board is that of Pizza Parker with a 1:54.6. He had a good run last time in qualifying. He qualified P6 in France. Sly Tycoon pips him by by 10 seconds. So Pizza Parker must have had a bit of an issue with that lap time there. So Slime Tycoon are fastest at the moment, but as always, we've got over 10 minutes of qualifying to go. Everything will change. Don't take these times as the final times. It's all about to get a little bit more spicy as drivers put in quicker, more dangerous laps, getting right to the edge of the limits where they can, as Brownie pops in with a 1:45.5. So my question earlier, Cameron, I'll pose it to you again before we got interrupted by a few spins, was who have you got your eyes on tonight? We've seen a good amount of wet qualifying sessions over the past few races, and we've got a rough idea on how a lot of the drivers do. So who are you putting your money on this evening?
Was it the United States? We saw a good run, I believe, from the AlphaTauri. It is down to really a battle between the AlphaTauris and Dan's, I'd say. Jos Heinze, currently at the top of the timing tower. We see that if you keep your faith within him, just as that red Racing Point of Farnham, sorry, in the pink car, getting a bit all out of shape. Keep your faith in him and he will perform. So it really is unpredictable, I'd say, as we see the times coming now. Yeah, around the 144s, 143s, even possibly getting into the 142s. Track conditions are slippery there as Danza gets around his teammate. O'Dave had that spin earlier. But yeah, I think we'd like to see some more performance from the Red Bull guys as well. With a wet race, so it does nullify a lot of things. It really turns on its head and brings out the skill level of these drivers as Adam goes into the pits. Currently, though, Adam, who normally likes to start in the front row, is starting down in 12th with just under 12 minutes to go. MJQ getting all sideways out of a tight left-hander there. Very easy, even on a dry track. Also to look at your brakes. Very easy on a dry track to drop the car by putting too much on the loud pedal. So in the wet, I'm glad I'm in here and not out there. As he sets a purple sector though, but I don't know whether he'll be able to keep this pace up for the rest of the lap, having that massive lockup. On to a very long back straight here. DRS normally in the dry. Obviously in the wet, it's deemed unsafe. Into the braking zone. Just brake past the 100 metre board. There we go, trail brake in. Try and get the boat turned around. They are difficult to drive in the low speed corners, these F1 cars, and even more in the wet. And around this corner you will see drivers maximising the track limit there. You can't just push the line, the curb. And MJQ comes across the line. P2 is a Haas 1-2 at the moment, Fozzy.
Yeah, fantastic work by MJQ. He'll be a lot happier about when he was his P7 in France last time around. So yeah, Haas 1-2, that's what we like to see. That's very good work from both of the Haas drivers. Obviously, we may see these change as the session goes on. I need not to repeat that. But yeah, fantastic work by them. We saw the yellow flag. That was a racing point of Farnham, who's just off at the side of the road there in Sector 1. But MJQ, well, he's going for it once more. He's just set another purple Sector 1. Oh, he's lost it. Coop's off. He's got a little bit too heavy on the loud pedal there. As has Farnham further back as well, although Farnham actually might just be looking to get back onto the track in a safe position. 6 there. I mean, I mentioned earlier, it's easy for you to drop the car, spin it around, get the wrong direction, and MJQ playing into that there. It's just you put the power down, and the car will snap on you. Considering these F1 cars, you would think they are cross-channel ferries at times, the way they drive. But tyres will be a little bit feeling like they are second-hand there. Heat going through the inters. Obviously, with wet tyres, they're useful for these colder track temperatures, but if you give them a spin, then it's a bit like dealing with a barbecue on your tyres, I'd say there. But yeah, MJQ most likely have to pit now. 9 minutes 30 seconds. He's got plenty of time, locking up the brakes once again to get back to the pits and put on some more rubber. As we see Slide Tycoon there coming around. Very nice job. Decent really for the McLarens. Oh, as I say that, commentator's curse in action once again. The number 2 car getting a little bit loose out of turn 8 into 9. Dino and Slide Tycoon lining up in 4th and 6th provisionally, with the Williams doing a good job there. Checkerboard with Pizza Parker, who is in the pits. There in 5th, and Jay P7. So good job, really. And Nico, we are seeing this again. Nico Lates and the AlphaTauris look like being caught out here. They are not in great position. Nico in 8th, and Adam all the way down in 18th. So 10 places behind his teammate, and he will be hemorrhaging points in the championship if this is where he's going to start. Yeah, Adam down there at the bottom, he's just starting a flying lap now, so if we ride on board with him, then we'll be able to follow him round this lap and see how he does. Now, turns 1, 2 and 3, it's that really tight complex. It gets narrower and narrower as you go around, you're dropping the gears slowly, and then you swing it downhill left into turn 4. and then you really need to pick up the power because you've got a little bit of a straight as you just level out here onto sector 1, although he gets a little bit funky on the curbs there, but he hits that apex and it's heavy on the brakes down at the 50-meter board, and you want to kiss the apex as you go around turn 6 there, and then again pick up the drive, and you've got a really long left-hander F7 coming up now. This is really trying on those tyres, especially the outer tyres. You've got to be cautious around this one in the wet though. It's not too wet, not as wet as we've seen in some races, but it's definitely going to be a little bit more slippery than what the drivers have probably been practicing in. Now it's probably one of the most difficult parts of the track, the back end of sector 2 through turns 9 and 10. We might see drivers losing it here when it comes to the race because it's really hard to get traction, especially if you end up on that AstroTurf, as we have a yellow flag in sector 3. That's not going to impact this lap too much. Now you've got a little tricky section of 11 and 12 here, but then you really need to pick up the drivers cautiously, I say cautiously, Adam, through 13, and then pedal to the metal, foot down all the way down this back straight, long run down to 14. As we say in the dry, this would be DRS. In the wet, nada, none of that. So he's got a good lap going here so far, as we see drivers starting to come out on dry compounds now, so the rain is clearing up.
Yes, it is.
Yes,
I was just going to say, you mentioned DRS straight, and I just saw the DRS activate for Adam there, so dry times are going to be coming in. That's going to send the times really down. So actually, this might be pointless for Adam this lap, because yes, he goes P2, but he's going to have to come back in again and box and do the out lap and then a flying lap on the dry tyres, because there's no way, if they're out on dry, so the track is looking dry, it's looking very dry indeed, then that time isn't going to suffice to find him on P2 on the grid, as he just gets around a Williams driver. So yes, changeable conditions, it's what we're used to in IRL PC F2, and it looks like we're getting them again, Fozzy.
It does, and what's interesting is we've obviously got a mix of strategy already come into play. Some people going out to qualify and getting really fast times on the soft tyres, others thinking more about their strategy when it comes to the race and going onto the mediums. So far, more people seem to be opting for the soft compounds, but we still have about half of the grid on the intermediate, so we'll wait a few minutes to see how that plays out. But it is both Williams of Peter Parker and Jay and Sly Tycoon who are currently on the medium compounds. Everybody else either on softs or inters. So it'll be interesting to see what the delta difference is between the softs and the wets, and see how much more of these lap times are going to be coming down. At the moment, Jos Heinze on pole for 1:43.3. He's on an outlap on softs, so that'll be definitely something to watch, as will every other driver. These times are going to come tumbling down. Cameron.
Yes, I'd get your stopwatches ready, and I think if you blink, you're going to miss it here, as we see Jos Heinze on his outlap, getting ready to start a lap on the soft tyres. You see soft and mediums at play with a sprinkling of intermediates. We do see now the majority of drivers going onto the dry tyres there on the pits. It's just Zero who's still got the inters on, but I believe he left the session earlier. Not too sure about that. He might be able to rejoin. But we will see what these drivers are going to do. Adam's time is not going to stand, that is for certain. He now comes into the pits in a bit of a hurry, I'd imagine, to get those mechanics out and get those tyres changed. Whoa, a massive moment in the pit entry. Yeah, that's going to cost him. But Danza, P3, will he be able to go for pole? He certainly thinks so. His performance has been very much on the rise. I believe he is our only back-to-back winner so far in IRL PC F2 Season 12. Let's see if he can become a 3-time consecutive winner. As they go through, see the drivers going around that kind of reverse helter-skelter, it feels like, there. But anyway, we're going to ride on board with Jos. He's going to come across to start his lap. Very conservative there on the final corner. And starts the timing beam. Stopwatch is on, yellow flag, sector 1. It might be a Red Bull just on the right here. Is that going to impede? It's Brownie off into turn 1. Just ramps there, setting the new time, 1:33.805. You know, that's 9.5 seconds difference. That is phenomenal. It really does show that, you know, dry track, dry conditions, slick tyres, and you're on for a bout of fun here, Fozzy.
Yeah, Jos Heinze set a purple sector 1. Now, obviously, a lot of these people are just getting their outlaps done. There may only be time for one good flying lap, possibly two, depending on whereabout you are on the track. But for a lot of people, it's one lap or nothing on the dry compound. So all of these laps are really going to have to count. And everyone's going to be nursing their tyres on their outlaps as well. They're not going to be wanting their tyres to be too hot or too cold as you would for any qualifying lap. So really have to make this one count. But we'll continue to ride on board with Jos Heinze as he comes his way, makes his way, into the start of Sector 3. There's the DRS detection zone. Well, it's not a race just yet, but he will have DRS nonetheless then as we go on to the big, long, straight down towards turn 14. Speeds here over 200 miles an hour. So it's, yeah, definitely quite speedy. We have a Williams 1-2 at the moment. Them times we will see come tumbling down, I'm pretty sure, as they were both set on the medium. Pole at the moment, provisional 1:32.5. Farnham with 1:32.6. But let's continue with Jos Heinze, who's just coming around the final corner now on the soft compounds. No, he's abandoning back one. He's going into the pits. Don't go over there. You'll be doing a Hamilton. Luckily, that probably won't be the issue in the race. That's now no longer gravel. But yeah, he's abandoned that lap. Obviously wasn't too happy with how that was going on the soft compounds. Just ramps though, 1:32 dead. That's on the soft compound. I believe 2 laps old as well. So it'll be interesting to see how this pans out. But yeah, Farnham. Sorry, not Farnham, I'm reading the wrong name. Jos Heinze, if he wants to improve his position, he'll need to get in the pits, change very quickly, and get out on that outlap again. Because at the moment, it's just over 2 minutes 30 left on the clock, Cameron.
Yeah, I think we saw him lock up down into turn 14. I think that would have cost him enough time to warrant just quickly abandon that lap, run into the pits, get the mechanics out there and get going. Just on board with Side Tycoon, he had a bit of an off around turn 8 and 9, finding that although the track is drying, it might not be as grippy as they'd want at the moment. So he's going to be tight. He'll have to be very quick. I don't think he's going to have enough time to get to the back to the pits. But Danza crosses the time beam, 1:31.925. 10th clear of just ramps. I think we're about to see a titanic fight between the Mercedes driver of Danza and J Diesel. Oh, look at them all popping in times. Dejan Lazic coming in with a 1:31.490. The softs and the mediums though actually doesn't look like there's a big difference between them, as J Diesel has putting a stellar of a lap, just 3/10 off the Ferrari driver, and that is on a medium set of tyres. So that shows that is anyone's game with just under 1 minute and 30 to go. It's all going to wrap up for qualifying, and I'm sure the race, if it's anything like qualifying, will be absolutely brilliant. And Peter Parker has retired from the session. We've seen this a couple times. They do seem to do this, retire from the session and just, I guess, get ready for the race. With Shea Diesel in the Williams. It's nice to see a Williams up there in the timing tower. It's quite nice. Brings back to the old days on the medium tyre. But who else have we got? We got a yellow flag there of Marmeet. He is filling in for TS Bunty this evening. First outing in F2. It is a bit of a baptism of fire with the drivers we have, though. So I'm sure he'll find his feet shortly. He's P12, so a decent starting position if he keeps it. But under 1 minute now, 45 seconds on the clock, and it's counting down. And yeah, we are going to see some brilliant lap times, I'm sure. And I don't know who to put the pole position on provisionally. I can't call it. Fozzy.
No, Dejan Lazic's got a very good position there at the moment. He'll be really happy with that compared to his P14, which he got in France. But Dino will probably be even happier with a 1:30.5, almost a whole second clear of P2. That's going to be very good for him. Both Alpha Tauris, though, currently on laps as well, as we're getting into the final 10 seconds of the session now. So no more flying laps for some of these people unless they can get across the line quickly. I'm just riding on board with Nico Lates, who's on the soft tyres going through sector 2 into turn 9 and 10 now. He's got to be careful here, don't lose it too early. You don't want to be spinning around because he's currently down in P17. That's a bit of a difference compared to where we qualified in France last time. But yeah, kiss the apex there, kiss the apex on the right and follow it down. We have a yellow flag on the back straight. I don't think that's going to be impacting this too much. It looks like the incident has been cleared or is going again. But yeah, DRS now on this turn, this run down to turn 14. That's going to really increase these lap times, like we say, compared to what we saw in the wet. Nicolates currently on a 1:44.8. That's what he got in the wet. Pole at the moment a 1:30.5. Cameron?
Yeah, Adam's setting the timing screens alight. Got a purple sector 2. He comes on to sector 3 down the back straight. Will he be able to get pole? He's down in P16. It's a mountain to climb, but I'm sure Adam is going to put all the energy into reaching that summit. We come down to the heavy braking zone, just past 100 meters board. Down in, swing in. Oh no, that's unfortunate for him. He's locked up the brakes massively. That's throwing any timing gained on that lap absolutely out the window. We come across the final corner, run onto the timing beam. What's it gonna be? It's P17 now, but it's P3 for Adam, and he's on medium tyres. So strategy coming into play in qualifying. And there it is, and Jos Heinze takes pole, 5/10 out from Dino. That there is a drive. The soft tyres showing that Jos Heinze has the pace. 5/10 clear of the person who's currently joining him on the front row, Dino Q. Fozzy.
Yeah, fantastic run by Jos Heinze. I think we've got a McLaren coming up to the line. We'll just see where that places the McLaren. No major improvement there, but yeah, fantastic drive by Jos Heinze. He's had 3 podiums in a row, hasn't won since Japan. So let's see if he can turn that pole into a win as well. Qualified P3 in France. But yeah, fantastic drive by Dino as well to get up there to P2. That's going to be a really happy result for him. He qualified P5 in France, and Dejan Lazic in the Ferrari as well. Fantastic to get up there in P3. So yeah, I'm disappointed to see the AlphaTauri, sorry, that far down. P4 and 5, okay, it's not exactly far down, but I would have expected them, now we had a bit of a dry session, to maybe be fighting for pole, but yeah, that's a fantastic lap by Jos Heinze there. 129.9, that's almost 6 attempts clear of P2. Dino, fantastic work by him. But anyway, yeah, there we are in qualifying complete. Jos Heinze is on pole for the Chinese Grand Prix.
Yeah, Jos Heinze on pole. Joining him on the front row is Dino in the McLaren. Just behind those is Dejan Lazic and Adam. They're brilliant qualifying from both of those. Adam down in 4th, but starting on the medium tyres. So strategy in play. Nico P5, Jay P6, Gaudio 7th, Danza 8th, Just Ramps 9th, and finishing out the top 10 is MJ Koo in the Haas. It's Haas here who are looking to win big with Jos Heinze on pole. And let's see what MJ Koo can do in the race. I'm sure he'll be wanting to get up those positions. Brownie, Sly Tycoon, Farnham, Pizza Parker down into 14th. And then Crayon and O'Dave, Marmite and Zero are the rest of your finishers. Zero, I believe he left earlier in the session, hence why he hasn't got a representative lap time there. But this is what we've all been waiting for. We are getting into the racing very shortly. Obviously a formation lap, and it's red again. We are used to rain here. We are rain wet weather connoisseurs here at IRL, and I hope you've got your, I don't know, your canoes ready to go around this Shanghai complex. We're gonna need it, that's for sure. Fozzy.
We are, and it looks like quite heavy rain as well. I'm unsure if it's going to be full wet or inters at the moment. That'll be interesting to see. It's looking like, to me, a potential for a full wet tyre compound. So we'll have to see how that pans out. But yeah, this is going to be an interesting one then. All the cars concertinaing up into the turn 1, 2 and 3 complex. Can't wait to see how this one pans out, especially in the wet. China, as we know, is one of them tracks which has got really tight corners. There's no other way of putting it. So yeah, the rain is really going to amplify that situation, and we might be seeing a little bit of contact. We didn't actually see any safety car last time around. I think we might have had a virtual safety car, but I suspect we will no doubt see a safety car tonight, although the same could be said about Britain. Anyway, formation lap. Important to get the tyres and the brakes up to temperature, especially in the wet. And you don't want to be bunching the car. Well, you don't want to be getting to the grid too quickly. Jos Heinze and Dino are going to have to take it a little bit slow around this lap, because if they're waiting on the grid for so long, their tyre temperatures are going to be falling off the cliff. That's really going to hamper them throughout the first few laps.
Yes, and we called it in qualifying that, you know, people were taking different strategies. You had drivers on the softs and mediums. That's out the window now. So I bet Adam will be kicking himself a little bit there for going on the mediums, for only to be a wet race and starting on the intermediates. And so it is really a mountain to climb. But Jos Heinze leading the way, leading the pack. And yes, this will be a good one. 28 laps. Now, I reckon, as you said, we didn't have a safety car. It's been a little while. We've had VSCs, but the race control haven't given us the pleasure of a safety car. But I'm hedging my bets on one today, because with conditions like this and a track where we are racing, it's inevitable. We see gravel traps there on the right and grass on the left and curbs here and there dotted around underneath, around the track. It's only inevitable that someone, unfortunately, is going to make a mistake, run out of talent and find themselves out of this race. But at the moment, everyone's in, 18 drivers, and anything could happen, and I'm sure anything will happen. So yep, stay tuned. Put your predictions in the chat about who you think is going to come on top, who's your biggest surprise going to be, and just stay tuned for what is surely going to be one of the best races we've had so far. And yes, I can't wait. The two people leading the championship are not on the front row. Sorry, two people in contention, right contention for the championship. Adam down in 4th, Danza in 8th. But Jos Heinze, who is, I believe, P3 in the championship, he's up there now. This might be his chance to really gain those points and put in a bid. It was an outside bid a while back, but now he is joining the sharp end as we come around the final corner to set the grid. And I hope you've got your umbrellas ready.
Yeah, but Science is really going to be looking to capitalise on this pole position. Like I say, he's had 3 podiums in a row. It would have been 6 if he hadn't have had a pointless finish in Austria. His last win was in Japan. Let's see if he can make it another win here in China tonight. But put your bets in the chat. Let's see how we get going as the drivers make their way onto the grid now. Like I say, Yosanchi didn't want to be waiting on the grid for too long. Looks like he isn't going to be waiting for too long as the drivers are all making their way up to the back of the grid. But as always, I will hand you over to Cameron for the first lap commentary. Here we go then, everybody. It's the Chinese Grand Prix and Invictus Racing League.
Yes, that is right. We see the cars just waiting on the grid, ready to get racing here in China. And here we are then, the lights begin to illuminate, 4, 5 lights, the cars come alive, and it's lights out. We're underway for 28 laps of racing here in China. It's a tentative start from the Haas driver, the Ferrari trying to capitalise it. He looks to the inside of turn 1, Jos Heinze remains in front. He is just closing in though, the McLaren going wide, Dino going wide, Adam trying it in the inside into turn 2, down into the twisty section into turn 3, the McLaren, Dino, oh, bit of contact there with the AlphaTauri driver, but he is up into 4th and 3rd. Is still battling on as we head on to this mini straight, and this is one hell of a start. Jos Heinze though 7/10 away, and there's battling in the back, but look, there's battling up front as well. The McLaren once again trying to regain that position from the AlphaTauri driver. Adam started 4th, he's up into 3rd, already on the podium, and this is mental, and I cannot wait to see how this is going to unfold. Dino just losing a bit of time towards Adam now. Jay in the Williams driver, he had a good qualifying. Will he be able to keep it up throughout the race? I don't know, but this is close. We see the pack and cars concertinaing around these tight corners. China, there's no real room for mistake. And Adam there looks to be gaining on to Dazan Lassett. He goes down the inside. Does he get the job done? Dazan holding around the outside. No, not in to this corner. Although Adam switch back onto the inside. Will he be able to get better drive out the corner? It's hard to tell. It's like sailing around here rather than driving. It's a Ferrari on the outside down the back straight. But it's Adam now up into P2. The championship. The second person in the championship is now going for it. But who isn't going for it? It's O'Dave, the Mercedes and Brownie. I believe they collide and they are out of this race, Fozzy.
Yeah, really unlucky for O'Dave. Had a DNF in France. It looks like he's had another DNF here in China as well. But yeah, fantastic start for some of the drivers. Not so fantastic for others. Just Rams, jump the lights, has to do a drive-through penalty. Nicolates down 5 positions from where he started. Pizza Parker up by 5. And like you say, fantastic for Adam, who's made 2 positions already on this first lap. Him and Dazan Lazic having a bit of a fight. Has left the leader to get a fairly good gap. He's managed to pull a second ahead already, which is fantastic. So he's going to look to capitalise on that gap that he's made. But yeah, that fighting between P2 and P3 really has let the leader get away quite nicely. Fighting going on as well throughout the rest of the track, as Just Ramps does his drive-through penalty now to try and get that out of the way. Yeah, battles going on all over the place. Everyone's staying rather compact and together in this first few laps. There was a bit of fighting going on between I think it was Sly Tycoon and one of the other drivers. I can't remember and didn't catch exactly who it was. But yeah, Jos Heinze up there leading the race very comfortably at the moment. But Adam and Dazan Lazic will be gaining on him slowly. Dino might not be too happy as well. He's down by 2 positions from where he started. Obviously the wet conditions really hampering some of the drivers here. Getting a little bit twitchy on the power. And it's just allowing the back end to step out a little bit more than what you might see in the drive. And people are taking to the curbs as well. They've got to be careful with the curbs, because I reckon we're going to see a few spins because of wheel spin on the curbs, especially in the wet. So it's definitely something to keep an eye on. But when there's points at stake and there's a championship at stake, you'll be doing all you can to catch up with the driver in front, Cameron.
Yeah, so the driver in front of this pack is Jos Heinze. Adam, though, he has made up some positions and he can sense that he just wants P1. He can taste their position there, and he is gaining down the back straight. However, cars here and the drivers will be tested as he locks up into the tight hairpin. His energy consumption as well. You know, overtake on a dry race is fine, but you've got to be careful where you use it on a slippery track. Again, another lock up, 1.2, 1.1, just allowing Jos to just etch away and build that lead. But I'm sure that is not over yet. Dino, as you said, down 2 positions. The McLaren driver might be trying to get onto the back of Dazan Lazic here into turn turn 1. This really is a tricky corner. It's hard to know if you want to use the brakes or not going into it, just because of the nature of it. And if you do use the brakes, you find yourself corrading off. And Dejan Lazic just missing the apex here. That's put him into the danger zone of Dino. Dino can see the scarlet red Ferrari in his sights, and oh boy is he going to go for it. But just further back, Gaudio P6. He's been pretty good in this league so far, really good performances, and he's looking for another consistent bout of points, trying to catch on to Jay, who is up into P5. But Brownie and O'Dave, they are out. O'Dave suffering I believe a late lap collision last time, and unfortunately he's out in the early stages here in China. But as you see, the car's just taking their time, although it is a race, so admittedly still not leaving much on the table, but they're not, trying to race wheel to wheel flat out just yet. Because early stages, get the car, get into the groove, try and just nail your braking points, nail your racing line, and then just save your tyres and get ready for that pounce at the end. Tyres, though, Fozzy, we've seen the predicted pit stop strategy come up earlier, possibly a one-stop. We know that these drivers like to extend their period of time on those tyres. Will they be trying to go to the end, or do you think they're going to make a pit stop?
I think if they're sensible, they will try and make a pit stop, but those who are really fighting for the championship might want to try and stretch out as far as they can on the tyre compounds they are on. MJ Coupe I've just been riding on board with for a little bit, looking very racy, locking up a little bit, but I can't blame him. Everybody's doing a bit of that because the weather's really allowing it. But yeah, MJ Coupe, he's fighting and fighting to try and get ahead of Danza, who himself is trying to get ahead of Gaudio. So we've got a bit of a fight for P6 here going on. And Jay, to be honest, Jay isn't actually too far ahead as well, so make that a fight for P5. But yeah, MJ Coupe and Danza both looking very racy. I saw Gaudio Sector 1 last lap was cutting a bit of the curb and very nearly losing it, where the grass turned into a bit of tarmac, but he managed to keep it straight, managed to keep it facing in the right direction. Same couldn't be said for, unfortunately, like you say, Brownie and Dave, who we've lost from this race. Would have been really interesting to see how Dave would have been able to capitalise on where he started, but yeah, it's a shame. These things happen, especially in the rain. No safety car though, which is surprising, but drivers won't be worrying about that as MJ Coupe gets a little bit slidey coming out of turn 6 there. What else have we got going on, Cameron?
So the fight for the bottom step of the podium is still very much alive. P3 and 4 battling it out. Jos Heinz here is just looking up at the stats. His last win was out in Japan, and he has had 3 podiums in a row. But Japan, another track known for its little room and little margin for error, and knows to bite back on drivers. So maybe this is a theme. Jos Heinz prefers the tracks that make it a little bit more difficult, but this is a difficult corner though. If you're on about trying to get around, just the constant battering the tyres face, it goes from understeer to oversteer, then back to the other one before you even know it. But before you even know it, I think Dino is catching on to Dejan here. You just see the Papaya catching up to the Scarlet Red into the brakes. Too far back to go for a move. Play it sensible. Save that sort of tenacity for aggression just for a little bit later. The 21 car there. But fighting going on throughout, and Fozzy, he's waving at me. He's got something to tell you.
Yep, Farnham and Marmita fighting into the turn 14 there. Marmite just comes out on top, manages to defend his position quite well. Farnham came from very far back, though. I really didn't think he's going to be able to make that lunge work, as the Ferrari gets a little twitchy there. That allows Farnham to get alongside down home straight towards turn 1. They're side by side, giving each other enough gap because they know they're going to be sliding as they come into this concertina of corners. Farnham goes a little bit wide in his contact with the Ferrari. Both managed to keep it going in a straight line, though. Just about. It's Marmite still ahead, but Farnham's not done yet. He's going around the outside. Is he be able to cut it back to the inside? It doesn't quite look it. Stay away from the curbs, mate. That's going to spin you round. Both drivers, though, still facing the same direction. This fight is going to continue for the next lap at least, but yes, some very close fighting there. How they're both facing in the right direction still, I do not know, but I have a feeling Farnham is going to be coming back for revenge down Sector 3 at the end of this lap. We'll make sure to keep eyes on this one, although he's getting a bit loose at the back end. That back end really wants to step out there. Them tyres obviously a little bit too warm, and he's getting a little bit too heavy on the loud paddle, and it's shouting back and nearly sending him going off the track. But he's still managing to keep on the back end of Marmite. As we come around now, the back end of Sector 2 through the turns 9 and 10 complex. Again, stay away from the curbs. These curbs are dangerous, especially where you get onto the AstroTurf there. Both drivers managed to avoid that. Now he's in, what is he, he's half a second behind Marmite. He's getting a little bit closer as he locks up and tries to cut the corner just a little bit there. Doesn't, well, he might have got a warning for that one, but here we go then. We're going to go around turn 12 and turn 13 back onto that main straight. No DRS yet because of the weather. but he has got energy, and he's deploying that energy as Farnham now. How far back is he? Well, it's a very long straight. He's about 3 attempts back at the moment. Is he going to be able to make a move into turn 14? Well, he was this far back on the last lap around. Let's see what he manages to do. Is he going to pull out? He is going to pull out. Is he going to try and outbrake him? No. He thinks second of it and locks up. This is getting pretty close. He's going to be... Oh, he tries not to spin it around there, but he manages to keep it going still in the same direction for turn 14, Cameron.
Yeah, someone who did make a move into that hairpin was Danza there. The Mercedes driver just fighting for positions. This middle pack of cars is just hard to distinguish between the cars in one image. They're just bumper to, well, front wing, I guess. And you see Gaudio and Danza battling out. And the other Haas of MJQ, and the other guy leading the race, MJQ battling for the points indeed. But this is ever so close. We go around the track. It's the Williams driver, Pizza Parker on MJQ. He tries to make that move. Does it get done? He gets an almighty moment out on the exit of that corner. The Haas driver joining in for a bit of motorsport ballet as well, as MJQ hangs on to P8. Between that is close between him and Pizza Parker. The Williams on the Haas driver. Who's going to come out on top? You're just going to have to wait and see. It's so difficult to call. Gaudio, though, his battle with Danza has left them slightly on the wayside, though. As we look further back in that shot, you've got the Haas driver looking for maybe a little sneaky move. The 93 on the Alfa Romeo. Too far back, though. He is around 7 tenths away. Easy out of the exit of this corner. Very easy to drop the car, spin around and into the barrier. He just gets it around. Danza a little bit slippy on the exit. It's understandable with conditions like this, but at the moment there are battles going all across the pack. It's more like a skirmish for positions rather than a race here, Fozzy.
It is, and all this battling has allowed Jos Heinze and Adam, apologies, to get ahead very comfortably. The gap between Adam and Dejan Lazic is now 7.5 seconds almost, so a very comfortable lead that them two have got going as they go around the turn 1 and 2 complex. Now the other driver is just going across the start-finish line. It looks like that battle between Farnham and Marmite is not fully over yet. I saw some positions changing them out there at the back end of that lap. But yeah, you cannot distinguish the cars in this mid-pack as Jay's looking for a move down the inside of Dino. I thought he was going to go around there. He just got a bit of contact. He'll be lucky to not have a punchable Dino. But it looks like he's all okay for now. But yeah, a bit of contact there. No car span around though, both facing the correct way on the racetrack, which is fantastic to see. How is that Marmite and Farnham battle doing? But it looks like Farnham has managed to get ahead of the Scarlet Red Ferrari. So Marmite will be looking for a little bit of revenge coming on to the next few laps. Who else is looking close? Well, Jay's not done with Dino yet. Oh no, they're not. There's about just 6 tenths between the two. So we've got a few straights coming up, so we might see a move coming in to one of the tight corners here. But yeah, Jos and Adam very comfortable up in front. Now we're wanting to... Well, I'll probably be thinking about their pits now. Are we going to pit? Am I not going to pit? Well, we'll soon find out in just a few laps' time. MJ Coupe still eyeing up Gaudio as well. All drivers coming around of turn 12 and 13 now. They would, if they've been storing energy, they'll be trying to deploy it as we go down this straight. Are we going to see any moves on this lap? Well, let's have a look. Who's going to be closest? Jay is eyeing up Dino. Still a little bit too far back, as is MJ Coupe on Gaudio. MJ Coupe pulls out to the right-hand side just to get out of that dirty air. Is he going to be making a move? No, he's going to play it safe and wait until he's just a little bit closer as Jos Heinze sets the fastest lap of a 1:46.5. Cameron?
Yeah, Jos Heinze showing how it's done in China. A China that's, going off your Marmite comment, you either love or you hate, I find. But Jos Heinze there leading by just over 2 seconds. If he can keep it on the track, which is proving more difficult than it should be, then he surely will be on for a good result here. But you see the battling going on again for Dejan Lazic and Dino. Still running out for those early lower down podium positions. It's just not over. We're only on lap 8, guys. I mean, come on. This is insane. You've got the Williams J again just catching on. You've got a few packs forming. You've got the sort of P3 to P7. P6 pack, and then you got from P7 all the way down to P12 11. Talk about P7, MJQ on Gaudio, but they're still not done yet. Gaudio gets a better run, takes to the outside, comes across, it has on the inside. They're lucky not to come and cut tyres there, but they just get it through, and Gaudio through to P7. The Alfa Romeo leading the Haas team, both powered by Ferrari, but that doesn't mean they're teammates, that's for sure. Gaudio, though, just getting a little bit loose on the exit of these corners. You see there, massive moment for MJQ, power sliding it out there. That's going to cost him a little bit of time, but I'm sure he'll be regaining that time. But Pizza just watching on behind, late into the brakes, manages to catch up a little bit. We'll be eyeing up a couple moves here down the back straight, surely. But without DRS, these cars still take a lot of effort to try and get past another. It really is into the braking zone, which is why we see people locking up the brakes, pushing the edge of grip, and trying to get those moves done. But as we now see, Pizza Parker slowly gaining on MJ. Will he be able to get it done into the braking zone? It looks like he's not. Slightly later on the brakes. Holds it in though. Just wait for the exit. Pizza Parker looking to take a slightly tighter line. Doesn't. Gets a little bit of a seesaw action on the steering wheel. But he still remains in P9. Decent. It's a couple points. But MJQ down in P8 where his teammate is leading the race. There's a bit of a disparity between those two there. But Gaudio P7 does have a penalty. And MJQ is just latching onto him. Again in the reverse helter-skelter of this complex of turn 1, 2 and into 3. Again, I always struggle with this corner, so let alone doing it in the wet. And there we go. MJQ possibly looking up for a move on the outside. Pizza Parker looking a little bit more interested, looking to make his investment here and trying to get to P7. But MJQ, Gaudio, that is a very close battle between the two. The Williams just behind them, as well as the AlphaTauri and McLaren. There are a lot of teams who will be wanting these points, especially when you look at how close the standings are in both the drivers and the constructors. So yes, MJQ P8, Gaudio P7, but leading the race, leading the hungry pack of wolves is Jos Heinze. But behind him, Adam, starting 4th, is now P2, so that'll be decent points. Whereas our championship's current or provisional champion is still in P6. So he's done a fair bit of work to try and get up the timings, try and get up the tower. But, you know, for winning 2 races in a row, this isn't looking particularly positive for the Mercedes driver, Fozzy.
Yeah, you're right. And with that battle going on, don't rule out Nicolates and Sly Tycoon, who as well managed just to get round past the AlphaTauri, who has a bit of a moment coming out of turn 13, loses a couple of attempts to McLaren in front of him. Now, he's got a bit of energy, has Nicolates, who's going to be wanting to try and get back up the 6 positions, but he's lost already. He's going to be saving that, well, maybe not for this lap, but we will check back in with that very shortly. Who else is making moves? Well, Pizza Parker still trying to get past MJ Coop, who gets, again, twitchy once more out of the second to last corner. It's not looking too good for the Red Bull team as well, I just want to point out. We've unfortunately, like I say, lost Brownie from the first lap, and Zero, unfortunately, down in P16 as well. But we will return to that shortly because the battles are, like we say, heating up at the front of the pack. Well, maybe not the front of the pack, but from P4 downwards, Jos Heinze and Adam very happy and comfortable up there. And Dejan Lazic is, well, he's starting to come under threat now because Dino is less than a second behind him. Will he be able to pull out of DRS range? Well, only time shall tell when we get round to the DRS protection zone at the outside of turn 11. Cameron?
Yeah, sorry, I was watching Jay on Dino. Dino's left the session. I think that his McLaren just ghosted just in time. Jay on the brakes just slightly miscalculates and runs into Dino. Both cars are still on track, and unfortunately Dino has dropped. He might be able to get back in, but that's brought Danza into play once again. 2-time race winner here, season 12 IRL. He wants to become a 3-time winner, I'm sure, but it is a mountain to climb, and he's going to need all the will to get there. But he now gains cellular brakes, lock up, double lock up, gets past Dino, who is ghosted, so not putting up much of a fight there. But Danza, P5, Jay, P4. This is brilliant between the two. But as you said, 3.2 seconds roughly between Jos Heinze and Adam. That there is crucial for the championship fight. And Dino is looking to make some moves here. Fozzy.
Yeah, Peter Parker's just got past MJ Coop. Looks like Coop had the slightly worse drive out of turn 13 there. And will be looking to try and get back ahead round the outside of turn 14. This is going to be tight. Who's going to be making it work? Peter Parker manages to hug the inside and keep that position. Where MJ Coop has gone the outside. It turns to the inside for turn 16. Where he just doesn't manage to make it stick and drops behind the Williams driver, MJ Coop. Very nearly round. Like I say, them curbs are definitely dangerous when you get on them in the wet. Luckily for Dino, he's managed to rejoin the session, so we should be seeing him back into contention very shortly. But yeah, Coop's wanting more. He knows he's got a penalty, so he's going to want to, well, stay off the grass, preferably, mate, would probably be the best option there, as he went a little bit wide, nearly touching the AstroTurf. As a Gaudio and, I don't know if Dino's back in yet, but I believe he is, because his car is no longer ghosted. Here comes Peter Parker then alongside Dino. make sure they don't get any contact going here.
Whoa.
Don't want to be losing any front wings. Oh, there is contact. Contact to the back of Peter Parker there as the McLaren just manages to hug that inside once more. But it's Peter Parker who comes off top for that one. Sly Tycoon, the other McLaren's eyeing up MJ Coupe in front. At the moment, he's safe because of MJ Coupe's penalty, but we've still got over half of the race to go. So all is still to play for, and you can't become too complacent too soon. Peter Parker, though, making up 7 positions so far in the race. That's really, really good, especially in the wet. So great work, great drive from Peter Parker so far. And it's looking good for Marmite as well. On his debut at the Invictus Racing League Formula 2 series, he's made up 4 positions since the start. So fantastic work. And he seems to be managing his race quite well. We'll see how he continues to go throughout the rest of the race as well. Now, Keiran and Farnham seem to be gaining a bit of a tango going on through turn 12 here. Will Farnham in the racing point be able to make a move on Keiran in the Alpha Tauri? Well, only time shall tell, but it looks like Keiran's managed to pull out a slightly better drive from that, and I don't think that even with the energy deployment, Farnham is going to be able to make a move down towards turn 14 here, although he does seem to be gaining, but I think he's just that little bit too far back to make it stick, especially in the wet. Now, how are things looking back at the front? Well, we're seeing that driver pack from P4 down still looking very close. Well, Gaudio has dropped back a bit, so it's Danza and Jay and Dejan Lazic who are fighting for the final podium position. Dejan Lazic and Jay both kissing the curbs there. And, well, it looks like Jay's getting a little bit funky coming out of that corner, but it's allowed Danza just to catch up a little bit more than where he was. Are we going to be seeing a move coming on here? I don't think so, but where we might be seeing a move coming on is MJ Coupe on Dino, 2 tenths behind as we go into turn 6. Tries to go around the outside, and then says, no thank you, I'll continue to keep that place for one more lap, thank you very much. And Nicolais, I think, just got a little bit squiggly there as well, but he's managed to keep it all in one position, which is really good for him, Cameron.
Yeah, I do wonder, just looking up at the skies, they're still grey. I wonder what they hold. Do they hold a bit of sunlight behind those clouds? Well, I don't know whether we're going to find out. And this race is MJQ just nursing the Haas around there. It was like using your oars in a rowing boat there, trying to get that one around the corner. On the brakes is a locker, almost visiting Dino, but just keeps it out of the rear wing of the Papaya McLaren, who himself just keeps it on the asphalt. That was one hell of a save there. He had a moment to the left, a moment to the right, but he still continues straight down the back straight into turn 14. So DRS is really proving to be a bit of a difficulty tonight, and we'll see if anyone can make any moves. As we see Peter Parker gaining on Gaudio, the Alfa Romeo driver just trying to defend his P6 position. Peter Parker into P7. He's going to try and make it work. I'm sure we see the drivers, they like to be very analytical about that, or the Gaudio not very analytical about track limits, Fozzy.
Yep, Slide Tycoon's the first one to make a stop into the pits. I imagine he's going to be going for a fresh set of intermediates. I would be surprised if he went for the wets, as the weather doesn't seem to be getting too much worse. But the first pit stop goes to Sly Tycoon, and let's have a look. Yes, it is another set of intermediate tyres, so we'll be on that fresh compound, the old ones being 13-14 laps old. Let's see what he can do to make up positions now. He started P12. He's going to be coming out in P... Well, he's going to be fighting the McLaren of just ramps, but he's... sorry, the Renault of just ramps, but he comes out behind in P14. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do with fresh set of boots and how far up the field he can make his way from where he came down. Now, look at this with Peter Parker and Gaudio there fighting it through Sector 2. Are we going to be seeing a move coming on into one of these corners? Well, it looked like it was going to be happening back there into Turn 7, which is not a usual overtaking spot. But Peter Parker's not done yet. He's going to get that delivery, and he's going to send it like any pizza boy would down past Gaudio, and no doubt into Turn 14. Cameron?
Yes. Oh, pizzas. We're not in Italy, but it'd be lovely to take a trip to Monza. I'm sure it's a bit sunnier over there than it is here in China. Oh, just look at them, just really trying to get the car around the corner onto the back straight. That's really difficulty in itself, but who isn't finding it too difficult is Farnham. He's just got a lovely move on Keiran for P11 outside the points, but verging on it. He's 11 seconds away, bit of work to do, but the top three is quite an interesting circumstance we find ourselves in. Jos Heinz leading by 4 seconds. Adam there is leading by 19 seconds on Dejan Lasic, but there's battles going on. Dino, Pizza Parker out of turn 14. They're going onto it. They're trying to battle it out. Here comes MJQ looking around the outside. Here they're going to hold it. Oh, that was close. Dino in the wall. Dino is in the wall and is out of this race. He pulled a mega Lewis Hamilton style there, straight on. Missed a braking position. What happened there? I don't know. MJQ looked to pit, held it around the outside. Dino also found himself wanting to pit very late lang, and just went straight into the barriers, Fozzy. That is ever so unfortunate for the McLaren driver.
Yeah, I didn't actually know if MJQ was going to pit then. I think he was going around the outside, and all of a sudden there was a McLaren on the inside, and he was forced into the pits. But I think a lot of people are going to be coming in for these fresh sets of boots. But yeah, really unfortunate for Dino there. It was quite a heavy impact as well. I think there might be quite a discussion in the stewards' room after this race about that one there. But yeah, that was a tight one. It looks like just Ramps and the other McLaren of Sly Tycoon are getting a little bit tango-y through the first few corners as well. Are we going to be seeing a move from them very shortly? Well, it certainly looks like they're in a racing mood. Keiran's not too far behind Farnham as well, and so is Jay behind Dejan Lazic. He's about 9 tenths behind at the moment. Give it a few corners. We'll reanalyse that position to see if there'll be a move coming up on the Ferrari. For the moment, over to Williams P4 and 5, which is fantastic work, especially for Pizza Park, who's made up 9 positions, the most out of anybody since the start of the race. And we are really happy with that, and it'll be good to see if we can see that continue.
MJQ on the Renault there in the left-hander. The Renault on the outside. He had close contact before going into the pits. Now on his outlap on the new set of tyres, finds himself battling with the Renault driver there, holding on to the inside. The left-hander before turn 12 into 13. They're battling for positions. Just because they're on their outlap does not mean they're not wanting to fight. MJQ P11 just ramps, and Nico late, battling it through with the Renault driver. Nico on the inside, powering down that back straight. The AlphaTauri Honda powered car is trying to make a move, possibly on MJQ here. Is he going to look to it? If not, just Ramps looks to the inside. Is he going to get the job done? No, he has to back out the 13 car, not able to make a move work. Nico, though, taking a slightly later corner there. Just Ramps looking again on the outside, and we are going to see who's going to profit out of this one. Nico just holding it around the final corner. That was close between the Haas driver and the AlphaTauri, and then even closer between the Renault driver, as we see all the drivers coming into the pit lane, putting on some new rubber, some new boots, and getting out there. I was surprised they're, I guess they're welly boots around here, but we will see how it happens. But just look at the front, Jos Heinz and Adam. Jos Heinz now is around about pit stop clear. We see, I think Adam must have an incident, he must have stopped. But they are now, Jos Heinz is around the pit stop clear if he needs to box. And so, yeah, that is quite dominant from him. We see that if you let the leader go and they remain unchallenged, they will just run away with it, Fozzy.
Yeah, Farnham a little bit of contact into the back of Keiran there, but I think Keiran's got away with it quite lightly. And Dejan Lazic and Danza have been fighting for the first, through the first and the second sectors as well. There's 6 tenths between them at the moment. Dejan Lazic gets the best drive out of turn 10 there, but it'll be interesting to see if Danza's able to make a move. He's only, well, in every race he started this season, he has managed to score a point. There's only 2 races where he hasn't been on the podium, so he's going to be trying to see if he can improve that P5 and make it a P3, 2, or even a 1. Although the gap at Jos Heinz and Adam have at the moment, I highly doubt that that's going to turn into a possibility for Danza, unfortunately. But we might see, like you say, Jos Heinz or Adam box, and they might be at pit stop ahead. Although if we look at the time, it was about 27 seconds ahead. And it's now a lot less. But yeah, Danza looking for the move on Dejan Lazic into 14 there. Didn't manage to make that one work. And it looks like Keiran and Farnham are going to be having a fight down to turn 14 as well. Farnham deploying all the energy he has. He's got about 30% there at the moment. He's gaining and gaining on the Alfa Romeo. He swings out to the right hand side and heavy on the brakes at the 100-meter board down towards turn 14. Keiran locks up, but it's Farnham who manages to go down the inside. Goes a little bit wide, but as does Keiran. So therefore the Racing Point manages to keep that position and lives to live another lap. Yeah, that doesn't make a full amount of sense, but we will go with it and see how that goes as we see just Ramps in the pits and Zero just about making it into the pits as well. Went a little bit too much of a cut there and nearly ended up in the pit wall. Now, how are we looking, Cameron? What have you got your eyes on?
Jos Heinze, we saw that gap come down. It's fine. He's okay. He went to the pit stop, and he knew he was clear of Adam, and he made that work. So still boxes and comes out in first position. So still leading by 3.5 seconds. We see the rest of the drivers now stopping, realising their tyres are a bit more fresher now, so we might see some more moves, a renewed sense of capability within the field, as Diesel just watching on between Danza and the Ferrari driver Dejan Lazic, fighting it out again. These are a common few drivers we've kept our eye on across this evening, and we'll see who's going to make what work. Dejan Lazic is 23 seconds behind Adam and Jos Heinze, so really is out of contention for the race win, but is still in it just for the podium. P3 is still P3 and day, and that is mega points, but will it be P3? Because Danza is looking to the inside, backs out late on, but the 39 was attempting to get up into P3 there, but just backs out. His bit of sensibility comes back to him, and his bit of sensibility might not be present there. Slight IQ just drifting it around out of turn 14, and is still going wheel to wheel with Gaudio. Gaudio takes to the inside, the McLaren runs wide. Is he going to keep it there though? He just keeps it going, and MJQ also runs wide, gets the 3-second penalty, and I think he might have made that position there, possibly outside of the white lines, but no issues just yet. MJQ to P8, Slight Tycoon P7, Slight Tycoon out of the hairpin.
MJQ
really,
down the inside there,
really struggled. Yeah, MJQ, oh, Gaudio almost out of contention completely there, takes to the outer line, just manages to keep it going. Look at that though, behind you, a Slight Tycoon, the McLaren, who's got Gaudio ahead of him, Nico behind. Anything can happen here, is completely up for grabs. The Alfa Romeo on the hash, just braking late, that leaves it open for the McLaren driver. With those green walled tyres, can he make a position gain? Who knows? Gaudio though, just playing a little more defensive, the Alfa Romeo car just leading the McLaren, and I'm sure McLaren would love to be in front here. We see them battling it out, taking slightly different lines, although there is only a couple of lines you can take here. I should find this up off the track as we've seen earlier on, but 4 tenths, there's no point counting in tenths, you just see it there on your screens. They're both in the same image. In fact, Nico, if he just keeps his nose clean, he might be able to gain big here, as we see Slight Tycoon basically just drifting it in to the corner there, struggling on exit like all drivers have done this evening. Turn 12 and 13, very difficult. We see the car just up ahead almost finding himself in the grass. We see just trying to break the slipstream here. This is more NASCAR than anything else. MJQ just wiggling around, just trying to make sure that none of his companions or opposition get in that slipstream and gain off him for free. But Gaudio still in P8, but oh my, that was close. Slight Tycoon trying it there, just gets a bit loud on the pedal, and the pedal bites back. Use the curb there, and for his efforts he gets a podium. Oh wow, MJQ is around. MJQ is around. I think he went slightly wide and just drifted into the barrier. That is so unfortunate for him. MJQ is P10, but it's not going to be long before the other cars are chasing onto him and are going to be climbing for that P10 position. Fozzy.
I was going to say he had front wing damage, but look on the exterior camera, I can't see a great deal of damage for him, but it's really unfortunate for him. It's just after the pit entrance, so he's got to do a whole lap with whatever damage he has got, which in a way is really going to hamper his race. But don't forget, Danza and Dejan Lazic still been fighting their way around this lap as well, as we were talking about that fight for P7. These two have been battling out as well, and Jay's arrived at the back of the scene and gone, hello, am I late for the party? Because he's looking for a move up to P3 as well. We'll have to see how these guys can do on the run down to turn 14. Jay looks to have the most energy out of all of them at the moment. Actually, no, apologies. Dejan Lazic has got the most as well. As I flick to him, he's got, well, near enough a full amount of energy, a full stock charge. So it'll be interesting to see. Will he be deploying that to try and save his position here? Well, Danza's got a good chunk of energy, over half energy, as does Jay as well. So we might see a bit of deployment going on here. Down towards turn 14, we're seeing deployment from Danza. He's going to be gaining on Dejan Lazic to Ferrari. I think he's going to be too far back to make a move, but he is gaining at quite some pace. Are we going to see him pull out to the right-hand side? Oh, he's late on the brakes, but he thinks he's going to save that for another corner. Who's going to get the best drive out of there? Well, they both seem to get a fairly equal drive out, although Danza does get a little bit of wheel spin. Probably not what he would have wanted. He wants to be right up onto the back of Dejan Lazic to try and make a move, possibly into the turn 1, 2 and 3 complex. Jado just watching it all unfold in front of him, as Sly Tycoon's going to be coming up to the same section of track as well now, to see if he can make a move on Gaudio. Again, I think he's going to be a bit too far to make anything stick this time around, as we see fighting down at turn 14, and the Ferrari of Marmee just about manages to hold it together as Farnham gets past him. Marmee got a little bit too heavy on the loud pedal there, stepped all out of shape, managed just to keep it on the track. I think the back right tyre maybe got onto the AstroTurf or the grass, but he's, like I say, no damage, not on the wall. I thought it was going to be, though. It was looking very close. What is looking close is the gap between Keiran and Marmee, who are going side by side. Well, nearly. They're wanting to be side by side through turn 1, 2 and 3 complex, but they're going to have to save that just for a little bit longer. It looks like Jay and Danza up at the front are still fighting through sector 2 as well. We'll have to see how that unfolds. But it is, yeah, still Marmee and Keiran looking to try and gain some positions here. Creon's got a good run. Is he going to make a dive bomb down the inside? No, but he's nearly going to go into the back of the Scarlet Red Ferrari. Manages to keep it out and keep his front wing all in one place, in one piece as well. Cameron, what have you got your eyes on now?
Yeah, this battle between Danza and Jay is not over, as well as Dejan Lusic defending his podium position as it is now. Danza did run wide a couple corners before. He keeps repeatedly running wide, and I think Jay is just learning that. He's knowing where to attack and where to save and harvest that energy, as well as prolonging the life of the tyres. You know, you've got to be sensible making your moves here. Danza again, the double lockup just bumps the Ferrari there. No major damage done, but a little bit more speed into the braking zone. It's not particularly what you need. There we go, around the final corner. Now, has Danza got wing damage? That will be the issue now. I doubt it, but anything can happen and can cause these little bits of wing damage. We see Danza still gaining into turn 1. Has to latch onto the brakes a little bit early. Is he going to try up the inside? Oh, you're not going to fit a car in there, Danza, although you're going to try. But Dejan Lusic is looking a little bit more compromised. Danza's looking determined here to get P3. He gets on the throttle, just gets on it and is very tentative with it because of the few issues there with a slippery asphalt. Locking up the brakes again, the double lockup, that will be warming up the tyres past their point of grip, but luckily he seems to have all the grip in the world trying to hang on to Dejan. Dejan again going through this long left-hander that comes into a right-hander. Got to get your braking point right here, or else you'll find yourself off into the wayside, into the gravel. On the left again. This battle is heating up. The Mercedes versus Ferrari, we're used to seeing it in real life. Unfortunately, not for a season now. Hopefully, we'll see them getting back up to their performing ways. But Danza is looking up to get back up to his performing ways. Again, lock up on the brakes. It's ever so difficult to keep the tyres going when you're under braking here, especially in the wet. But here we go. Is this going to be a move? 4 tenths, 5 tenths. He's hovering around enough margin. He has energy to burn. He's going to burn that energy. He's going to gain down the back straight. It's a long straight. Plenty of time to think about your life problems and think about when you're going to overtake. Catching up with the stitcher. I think it's going to be just not enough. He goes to the inside. It is enough. He tries to make it through on the inside. The Mercedes driver is through, but the Ferrari is saying no, thank you, and is on the attack. He is not able to get the position back on the switchback. But here we go. The run into turn 1. This is heating up. Dejan Lusic has been running in P3 for a while now, but this has turned it all around. The Mercedes driver looks just bolted away from him. Maybe a bit more tyre life, a bit more energy, or just generally able to get the grip and harness it to your advantage. And we see Dejan just taking a slightly tighter line, but it's now 9 tenths, almost a second between the two drivers. Is this the form that we need? We've got Jos Heinze, Adam Danza, the guys who are running for the championship win, are all in the top 3. This is it, ladies and gentlemen. This is definitely the business end. It's 8 tenths now between Dejan and Danza, but Jay is looking up, possibly the inside of Dejan, the Ferrari driver. The Williams just again seeing that Dejan is a little bit more compromised and maybe a little bit more that red mist starting to seep through into the visor. Having been in a position for such a long time, you feel very annoyed when you let that other guy just get ahead of you. So will he be pushed too much, and will he just push himself over the limit? Well, you just have to wait and see. At the moment, though, Williams scoring very good points, P5 and P6, and further back, Sly Tycoon on Gaudio. Again, it is very difficult to make a move around here at the best of times. You got to be just careful, got to follow him through and just try and keep up with him on down the back straight. Fozzy Anything interesting? I mean, it's hard to not pick something that isn't interesting here, but there we go.
Yeah, well, we've got contact between Slide Tycoon and Gaudio. Slide Tycoon just manages to keep it together, though. I don't think there's any damage that's happened there. But yeah, two main fights going on. Van at the front of the field and Van in the midfield as well. Fascinating and fantastic move, though, by Danza. That was into turn 14 on Dazan Lazic. Dazan Lazic were looking for a little bit more redemption, and Jay, like we say, up there in that pack as well, looking to try and increase on his work. Danza, we've had 2 wins in a row. I think he's trying to make that 3, although it's quite a big gap, though, so can't guarantee if that's going to happen. Peter Parker, though, running very well in P6 as well, defending quite well and catching up quite nicely to his teammate as well. Peter Parker, of course, he's not had a win yet. It was 2nd in Russia and 3rd in France, but he's definitely hungry for a win. And if it doesn't happen today, he's definitely got 2 more races to go this season. Obviously, we're off to Spain next week, and then, of course, the season finale in Singapore in just a couple of weeks' time. But yes, Dazan Lazic, he's just out of DRS range on Danza at the moment, so that might compromise him as we move down towards turn 14, that big, long straight. He's not going to have that extra 17 kilometers per hour that you would normally get with DRS.
Oh, dear, oh, dear.
Out.
Yeah.
Keiran.
Yeah, sorry, I believe he might be in the pit lane there or something, or at least going alongside. Not too sure what happened there, but he is certainly out of the race. Yeah, it does look like he's stopped in the pits, possibly down the pit straight. We'll see as Jos Heinze rounds turn 14. Jos Heinze 3rd in the championship is 1st on track. So this could turn things around, that's for sure. There was the yellow flag sector 1. That is Crayon's driver coming out again. He might just go on the pit exit here. Look to the right, ladies and gents. And he is there, yeah, just on the pit exit there, and he has left the session. But now Jos Heinze and Adam, 5 seconds between them. I think they're going to be very comfortable with decent points. You really want to risk possibly try to go for a position, end up in the gravel here. I'm not too sure you do, especially when we are going to the latter ends. You know, 2 more rounds to go. You want to be able to just keep a consistent spate of points coming in, keep that momentum going, and then hope that that is enough to win the championship. J Diesel, Dazan Lazic, these two are battling out again, just under 7/8 tenths. You're all gaining slightly on the straights, but the pack seems to be sort of calming down a little, it feels, maybe. Just starting to wrap things up a little bit. But Nico, he's had a bit of an interesting season. He's had some really good form. He was running 2nd in the championship behind his teammate, but unfortunately is very much down the way now, down into P4 after the last couple rounds. He got a podium last round. Yeah, so it's up to him now to really try and bring that fight and get that momentum back again, as you see Sly Tycoon and Gaudio trying to get around the track. Sly Tycoon, ever so tentative on the throttle, is so slippery out there. This is a full wet race. No hint of sun at all, really, or anything drying out in the remaining 5 laps. But Jos Heinze down the back straight once again, and will be, yeah, he's done a mega job, qualified on pole, and is able to just sort of run away with it here. No real competition, but Dazan Lazic is wanting that P3. It's around 1.3 seconds. We saw him almost holding up Danza a while back. As soon as Danza's gone, he's just been able to bolt, really, and use any remaining energy. And Jay is running very nicely indeed in P5. Jos Heinze is saying a fastest lap, saying the tyres are still alive, no matter how wet the conditions are. But yeah, so a few battles going on around the pack. And it's still a bit of a sparring session going on, I believe, especially between the Alfa Romeo, McLaren, and Alpha Tauri, Fozzy.
Yeah, don't take your eyes off the Williams as well. They're maybe teammates, but I have a feeling they're in a racing mood. Peter Parker's gaining on his teammate Jay, but a little bit too far back to make a move happen just there. In front of him is Dazan Lazic in the Ferrari, trying to defend his position. He's not too far behind Danza as well. He's just out of DRS range though, so he's not going to be getting it on this lap. Danza, though, phenomenal drive for him. We've seen it in previous races, but he's made up 5 positions this race, and it's not over yet. Will he be able to make it 6? Well, only time shall tell. He's a little bit far behind Adam, though, so I really don't think, unless there's a mistake from either Jos or Adam, Danza's going to be making too many more positions over the course of the next 4 laps. But yes, this little pack, this fight for 3rd is still ongoing, as it has been for many, many laps. And it's both Williams, hungry against the Ferrari, and all 3 of them chasing down the Mercedes. Now we have Gaudio defending from the McLaren of Sly Tycoon and Nicolates as well. Sly Tycoon definitely eyeing up a move here on the Alfa Romeo. It's going to be a Mercedes power versus Ferrari, just as it is further down the field with P3 and 4, but it looks like Sly Tycoon just that bit too far back to make a move stick there. And it's Peter Parker still up against his teammate, looking for that move. Is he able to find a way around? Not really through Sector 2. It's a difficult place to overtake it is round there. We haven't seen many moves going on. One fight that has been going on for many, many laps, and it may not be for points, is that between Farnham and rookie here, Marmite in the Ferrari. They've been battling for at least the past 20 laps, I believe.
Whoa! Sorry to cut you off there. Jay and the Williams, you saw they were in a racing mood. Jay put on the power a little bit too early, was sideways on exit there, but manages just to keep it ahead of Peter Parker. And now Peter Parker is looking for a remove here. 3 tenths, 2 tenths, it comes down into the braking zone. Is he going to go for it? Is he going to be a bit more friendly? I think he's being a little bit more friendly. You see Jay is a little bit loose out on the exit of certain corners, so he might have to capitalise on that, but he himself is finding the track biting back at him and being a bit of a temperament today indeed. But yeah, at the moment JD's on Peter Parker, the Williams, bring home good solid points. And as you said, the McLaren and the Alfa Romeo still battling out. It's been, you know, they might not have made too many positions themselves. They've all one's made 4 and one's dropped 4, but they're certainly ready to fight. And Nico Late's there in the Alpha Tower. And you just see MJQ, he had that spin early on, but he's still in the points. So overall, an okay recovery, really. I mean, if you spin and you manage to bring home some points, then not bad going indeed. But you see them all just coming around. It feels ever so slow, doesn't it, this set of corners here? It feels like an age to get through. Oh, MJQ, keep it going. Valtteri Bottas has been wanting you for his Arctic rallying next season. He manages just to keep that on the track. Nico, though, managing to get away with a bit more of time from MJQ. But will he be able to catch the Sly Tycoon and the Alfa Romeo driver of Gaudio? Well, it's hard to tell. We see them battling out. If they keep battling, though, they will start hemorrhaging lap time. So there's always a way around of it. But with just a couple, 3 laps to go, make that 2 laps to go, it's proving to be a bit of a challenge. Sly Tycoon and Gaudio, who's going to come out on top here? Well, here we go then. The McLaren coming in to this left-hander before that ever so tricky hairpin, or long hairpin, long right-hander. You never really know where to put the power on. It's very difficult. You don't really go full power to the very end. Sly Tycoon 8 tenths away, though. And we do see them all sort of gapping out a little bit now. We've got about 8 tenths and 9 tenths between the 3 drivers. And they will be ready for a sparring match, though. Peter Parker on Jay. And the penultimate final corner. Just keeping it home steady. They've got good points for the constructors here. And, you know, constructors still matters. And it's up to them, really, to bring home the points. Yes, pride and egos are at play, as with anything in motorsport. But getting good points for your constructors is also what counts, Fozzy.
Yeah, MJQ there getting another 3-second time penalty to add to what he's got already. And like you say, very good work by the Williams drivers. Where Jay gets a little bit loose coming out of turn 4 there. Manages to keep it going in the right direction though. I'd say constructors, nothing is rounded up yet. All these championships are still wide open for anybody, so all points count, as they have done throughout all of Season 12 and Invictus Racing League and the F2 League. And Dejan Lazic, is he coming under pressure? Does he know that he's Williams gaining on him? Well, he's looking a bit twitchy on the steering there, fighting to keep the car on the racing line. As we get towards the end of this race now, although there has been a stop from every driver on the grid, the tyres will certainly be feeling the wear of the track and the wear of, well, just becoming hotter and hotter as they fight and fight for positions, these drivers. Dejan Lazic, though, quite comfortable where he is at the moment. He would like to sniff that podium position that Danta has, but I think Danta's just a little bit too far ahead to make that work, as Adam just set a, I believe that's a purple sector 3 on that last lap, so clearly flying on his tyres up there in P2, and it's a controlling race still from Jos Heinze, who is up there at the moment, controlling this race as he has done for many, many laps. But at the moment, like you say, Cameron, I think all cars are spacing each other out, where that fight for P7 is far from over with the penalty still applied. And it looks like Sly Tycoon's going to be trying to arm a move on Gaudio, but I think he's just a little bit too far back to make anything work this time around. He's only going to have 1 or 2 more laps to make it move, though. And like we say, all points matter no matter where you are at the moment. MJQ gets a little slidey as he tries to make a move on Nicolates through turn 14 there. And the Williams still, as we come onto the penultimate lap, trying to fight each other Is it going to be Jay and Peter Parker? We have a yellow flag in
Whoa!
Sector 3. That's a McLaren, Cameron.
Yeah, Sly Tycoon, I believe, just spun and possibly made contact with another car. I just caught it at the very latter stage of that instant, but that battle has been heating up for a while, just like the standings. But Sly Tycoon is out in the late stages, just a lap to go, really, and unfortunately, he finds himself out of this race along the main straight as well. That is a very terrible situation to find yourself in, and a terrible place for your car to be, especially if we're looking for overtaking manoeuvres. But that, I mean, if you look in the bright side, that loosens up the pressure a little bit for certain the other drivers. It means that there's one less car to contend with, just this debris that's still left in the way. But if you can get around that, then it should be no deal or no bother. But MJQ P9, he has a penalty, but he's got 11-second gap to Farnham. I believe if he just keep as it is, he'll keep that position, possibly. But yes, do you want to battle with Nico Lates for position? Well, of course you do. You're a racing driver. You're here to fight and get points and prizes, not to settle in for just P9. You want at least P8, Fozzy.
Yep, Mr. Williams, they're eyeing up a move. It is Peter Parker who's deploying the energy he has got. Really eyeing up that move on his teammate Jay. He's going to have to make it cleaner if he wants to get the move. And I think he decides to play it polite on his teammate and not go for the dive bomb there. Just manages, though, to keep it facing in the right direction, because if he went into the back of his teammate, especially on the last lap, I think there would again be a very long chat going on behind closed doors. But we ride on board now with Jos Heinze, who has had a very controlling race, as we say, as he meanders his way through the twisty and turny Sector 2 for one final parade around the Shanghai International Circuit. This has been a race that has been his for the past few laps. He's done fantastic at controlling it. He's had a gap, which he built up very nicely in the first half of the race, and managed to box and change his tyres and stay out there in front and control that. Adam has thrown everything he possibly can to try and catch and close that gap, but it has not been enough for the AlphaTauri outfit, because as we go down on the long straight, down towards turn 14 with Jos Heinze for the final time, he'll deploy what energy he has got. He'll try and make that little bit more of a gap to where he can. We still see fights going on between MJ Coop and Nicolate. One Haas is comfortable, the other one very far from comfortable as they start their final tour of the lap. That's not over yet. Keep an eye on that battle, but it looks like it's going to be a race win in Shanghai for Jos Heinze in the Haas. Fantastic work for him. He's had 3 podiums in a row, made that 4, hasn't won since Japan, but he wins here in China. Fantastic work for Jos Heinze. Let's carry on, no camera, with that battle with the other Haas. How's that looking?
Yeah, it's still not over yet. We're on the last lap. The checkered flag has fallen for Jos Heinze, but not for his teammates. 7 tenths, 8 tenths between them. I just don't know whether it's going to be enough to make anything work here, though. He's now hovering around a second. It's proving impossible, but Gaudio just making it possible there by going slightly wide into the hairpin of the long stretch we've seen again and again for 28 laps. This proves to be a point get your overtake set up, but I feel that the inevitable point here is that MJQ is going to have to remain in P8, 9 tenths away. He's seen his teammate win with gratitude and victory, but unfortunately for MJQ, I don't think he's going to make a final move happen. He spun earlier and he's going to look to finish in P8, but here are your top 3 then. Jos Heinze, Adam and Danza, top 3 in the championship, and they're top 3 on track. This is just heating up again and again and again. We don't think he can get any closer, but yet F1 and this league proves otherwise. Yes, he said last win in Japan, another tricky track, and he wins in China. That was phenomenal. He's had multiple podiums and just adds one more to the collection indeed. But just Ramps and Marmy are 2 newer drivers crossing the line, P11, P12, a decent effort from them indeed. But there we have it. That was the Chinese Grand Prix for IRL Season 12 PC Formula 2. In-game driver of the day, Peter Parker, making up many positions. But let us know your driver of the day on social media channels. You will find the relevant information in the description below. There's Jos Heinze, controlled, expert, and utterly dominant today. No response from any other driver on track. Absolutely phenomenal. And this is why PC F2 is as close as it gets. There they are then. It will be tears, celebrations, and a mixture of emotions along the paddock here, with teammates winning and teammates missing out on perfect opportunities to score big points. But there we have it. There is your final race classification, although do stay tuned for any stewards findings. There are a few incidents there, so we might see some changes in the order which might affect the championship standings, but you can find that all in the description. So there we have it there. Josh Heinze takes the top prize, Adam behind, Danza P3, Dejan Lazic 4th, Jay Diesel 5th, the Welshman of Pizza Parker in 6th, Frenchman of Nika Lates in P7, Gaudio P8, Italian team and Italian driver MJQ P9, Farnham rounding up the top 10, the final points position, and then back there you got Just Ramps, Marmy, Zero, Sly Tycoon, Crayon, Dino Q, Brownie, O'Day. But Fozzy, oh, hang on, the microphone's gone the other way. There we go, we're back. Out of elation, the microphone's off as well. But Fozzy, who's your driver of the day if you had to choose?
I'm going to have to agree with what the in-game one said as well. Pizza Parker for me, he finished in P6 after qualifying P14. Fantastic drive by him there. And Jos Heinz, we have to give it to him. He qualified on the front row, on pole position, over 5 tenths ahead of Dino in P2, and he's managed to keep it down and turn that into a win. Fantastic for Jos Heinz. 4 podiums in a row now, 2 wins this season. Is he out of championship contention yet? Oh no, he's not. He's there and he wants more. Cameron.
Yes, and these drivers are ever so hungry, and this kind of changed the championship all around. Adam, who was his second in the championship, also finished second on track, so no real need for those. But Jos Heinze was third, and we'll have to see where they end up. We use a different point scoring system here at IRL, so you'll have to stay tuned for that. But as we head into the final couple rounds, the Spanish Grand Prix, and then the sparkling Singapore Grand Prix, oh my, it's hard to call, it's impossible to call, but one thing for sure, do join us for these few remaining races. It looks like the championship's going right down to the wire, and we're all here for it, that's for certain. But anyway, I believe that rounds up today. Next time we might feature some opinions from the drivers on different incidents, but you'll have to wait till then to find out. But yeah, phenomenal race, phenomenal effort from all drivers, and my, I cannot wait for Spain, Fozzy.
Yeah, it's going to be a fantastic race, I'm pretty sure. And if we get driving like what we've seen this evening, well, I can't wait for Spain. I wouldn't normally say that in the real world, but as the championship isn't done yet, and it won't be done until the checker flag falls in 2 weeks' time in Singapore. But from us, myself and Cameron here at Invictus Racing League, don't forget you can follow all of our social media channels down in the description, and make sure to check the Invictus Racing League website for all the driver standings once penalties and stewards findings have been completed. We will see you in 1 week's time for Spain. Set your reminders, the championship's not over yet.
Arriba, arriba indeed. And away we go. We'll see you next time. Have a good one, and goodbye.